RP Singh, let me start with you. What is this googly you've just bowled? Everyone was getting set for the G20 from the 8th, the 9th and the 10th. Suddenly you've got everyone wondering, I'm sure including yourself, will there be a general election sooner? What's going on?
Well, it's your guess or my guess. I mean, we don't know what the session is about. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister has not declared still the details of the session. He just said the special session. And obviously, when the session is called, the agenda will be discussed with the opposition also. And then all parties put together decide on the agenda of the parliament. It's not just one party who decides. And if I go by what you are saying, that one nation, one election, then there has to be a cabinet meeting also for that to approve the one nation, one election. So I really don't know, because the indications are there with the media, but not with us. And then I don't see anything of that sort as far the processes of the democracy goes, that there is some preparedness or readiness for that. But yes, one nation, one election is a welcome thing, which should be welcomed by all. If process can start, if consultancy can start, if people can come on board, if political parties can come on board, nothing better than that, because give me a second, because it would help us to perform better, and with any government to perform better with their work which they are doing, and also it will save a lot of money and a lot of energy and a lot of chaos also. So it's better if it can be done. And as Prime Minister
Rahul
said,
Verma, there are so many different theories doing the round. One is that the BJP is in for rough weather in the assembly elections which are due in November, December. Rajasthan is the one state where the BJP seems to be in front, but even there, because of Vasundhara Raje not being fully on board, the situation is tricky. Chhattisgarh seems to be a lost cause, the Congress clearly ahead. Madhya Pradesh also, the Congress with a narrower margin seems to have its nose ahead. In Telangana, the BJP's vote share, seat share according to the polling data has come down. The Congress has bounced up. It's 1-2 between Congress and BRS. Because of all of this, the conspiracy theory goes that they don't want the assembly elections to happen, and if they happen along with the Lok Sabha elections, because Prime Minister Modi is so popular, the BJP gets a tailwind. What's your reading of the political state of play? Who could this benefit? Who could this hurt?
The session, or see,
if one nation, one election is indeed brought at this time, who does it help? Who does it hurt?
It's hard to predict who will it hurt or benefit. Of course, if BJP is going to bring in this legislation, they have some calculation that given the Prime Minister's popularity, this may end up helping them in the short run. In the medium to long run, we don't know. And I think, as you rightly pointed out, Rahul, at the moment it looks like more of a conspiracy theory than a real thing. For multiple reasons. Even if BJP seems to be trailing in all these 4 elections, I don't think there is any serious conversation within the party about advancing the elections by 6 months. I don't think Prime Minister Modi is going to do that. Second, as S.Y. Qureshi pointed out, that you can't extend these like by a day, right? Like the House cannot be extended by a day for these 4 states. And you can't just bring in President's rule, right? You will have to actually, President's rule can also be brought under certain circumstances. When the government recommends that there is a constitutional crisis in the state, only then President's rule can be brought in. So it's not easy at this point of time to basically either move these 4 state assembly elections and have it with Lok Sabha elections in May, or advance the Lok Sabha elections. I think maybe the government starts a conversation on one nation, one election or UCC. Both these would be just conversations. I don't think
so that's an important point you're making. You basically just floating the balloon like you did with the UCC, bring it in Uttarakhand, bring it in some of the other states, and then build it up. So it's one of the issues then which you're trying to generate conversation around. I want to go across to Mumbai. Joining us from there is Rajdeep Sardesai. He's tracking the big India meeting, speaking to a cross-section of opposition leaders. Rajdeep, we were all building up for the big G20 summit. I was interviewing Fareed Zakaria, and the whole conversation was on geopolitics. The geo went out of the window. We're now only down to the politics. What's been the reaction in the India alliance after this announcement that a one nation, one election bill could be on the anvil on the 18th of September?
Rahul, two things. First of all, there is no announcement. This is source-based, number one. Number two, this is a talking point in my view. I don't think this is a serious attempt to try and push through the legislation of one nation, one election. It's a very complicated, complex issue where there are various stakeholders, including regional parties who are allied to the BJP, as well as state governments. Remember, a dozen state governments are not BJP-ruled states. I see it as a bit of a red herring. I do believe that Mr. Modi is using this session to make 2 points. One, his image, his stature enhanced in the backdrop of Chandrayaan and G20. It will be used by the treasury benches to push Mr. Modi's image. Unlike the previous monsoon session where the no confidence motion, the opposition targeted Mr. Modi on Manipur, this will be seen as a session where Mr. Modi and the BJP would like to set the narrative of being a strong leader who's giving India a global image. The GDP figure numbers are good today. I expect, and we expect before the festive season, not just the LPG cut that took place 2 days ago, but also possibly a petrol diesel duty cut. Look, Mr. Modi wants to set the narrative, and he will use this session to set the narrative amid speculation that this could be an early election. I agree with Rahul Verma. My experience of having discussed this issue with Mr. Modi is very clear. Atal Bihari Vajpayee made a big mistake by going in for an early election in 2004. That's a bad thing to do for whoever is in power. When you're in power, you use the instruments of power to your best ability. There's talk that in that session, he may even float the idea of a women's reservation bill. If not in September, then in November, December. Look, Mr. Modi believes he has a bag of arrows with him while he is in power. Also, while the India alliance still doesn't have a agenda set, he can constantly set the agenda. A lot of this also, Rahul, remember, happened on a day when in the morning the Adani revelations came in and the opposition looked like they were going to set the agenda. This is how Mr. Modi plays his politics. I sense that Mr. Modi wants to set the narrative early before the India alliance can get its act together. Hence this session being called where the Prime Minister will be the central figure. He wants to make 2024 a leadership contest. He will use this session to try and project himself as the supreme leader.